We're live! This is great. So, everyone, welcome to this live hangout. Welcome to Lifestyle Entrepreneurs United. This is our first hangout that we're having here, where we're bringing together lifestyle entrepreneurs, lifestyle designers from all over the world, people who are living a life by design. And for tonight's hangout, I invited some special guests to really share with us another side of life that a lot of, or a large majority of the population is probably unaware of. You know, the two guests that I have today, and actually three guests, have, well, I'm not really quite familiar with Belinda yet, so we're going to have her share her story in a minute. Okay. So I don't, just to be fair, I don't know how to introduce you, but for Natalie and Jody, they've been traveling the world for about, I think, nearly 18 months now, and we're talking continent to continent, not just, you know, state to state traveling. We're talking all over the world. And not only are they traveling all over the world, but they're doing it without paying a single dime for accommodations. And we're not talking about regular accommodations either. We're talking about some of their experiences really puts me in awe, and I get really excited because I want to start doing what they're doing too. They've stayed in like French chateaus in the wine countries of France. I believe they were in Peru, in the Andes Mountains. You know, places that you can only dream of. You know those on Facebook where you see those postcards of really awesome places? They actually stay in those places. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and let Natalie and Jody introduce themselves, and then we'll get to Belinda as well. I'd like her to introduce herself and share her story. So let's start with Natalie and Jody. What's up, ladies?
Hello. Welcome hi from New York City. Yes, from Brooklyn, Park Slope in Brooklyn.
So your current location is Brooklyn in New York City. Yes. And where were you before, and where are you going after?
Well, just to sort of say where we are right now as well, is this house sit wasn't meant to come about. We were meant to actually be on our first little break for months and months and months by staying with Nat's brother in Brooklyn or his girlfriend in Manhattan. And this house sit came up, and it turns out we're here in Park Slope, which is a much sought-after area of Brooklyn, and we're actually, our neighbor 2 doors down is the mayor of New York City.
Bloomberg? Is that? Uh-oh, I just, I'm not sure who the mayor of New York is.
I don't know who the mayor is either, but
it's Bloomberg. But wow, that's pretty cool. It must be a really posh neighborhood.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's very nice.
Not so bad for a house sit, eh?
Yeah, not too bad for a house sit at all.
Very, very cool. So, how did you get started in this? Like, what got you to start house sitting in the first place? And you know, when did you start specifically?
We started pretty much by default. It certainly wasn't planned for us to travel the world and sell up everything we owned and get on the road with all our life savings and all that sort of stuff. We actually lost a business in Dubai really badly, and with about $300 literally in our pocket, we left Dubai and we undertook our first house sit, and we were really only going to do it for the first couple of months to get back on our feet, not have to pay any rent, and make that saving. And the more we did it, the more we realized, oh my God, this is actually what we have been dreaming of, both of us, for a long, long time, to actually just travel the world, and house sitting was enabling it. And we had a business in another arena, but so many people were asking us how to get started in house sitting, what we were doing, and how did we do it, and how could they do it. So we pretty much on a dime and on a whim, we changed our whole business across to talking about house sitting and helping other people get started. And we realized that was a business we loved. So it's sort of everything was just unfolding. It was such a gift to us to be basically forced into house sitting to save rent and get back on our feet. So it was fantastic.
Wow, so what's actually stuck with me right now is that you started this whole journey with $300 to your pocket.
Literally, yeah. And a one-way flight. And a one-way flight.
A one-way flight for 2 people and $300.
Yeah. To London, of all places. Like, it's not the most cheapest place in the world, but when you're house sitting, you don't have to pay rent, obviously, and you don't have to pay for utilities or anything. So all we had to do was pay for food, which we would have to do anywhere. So that was what started it. But I really feel that really is to help other people get started without the excuses of no money and everything else that comes up. It's just like you don't have to plan it necessarily. You just have to do it. You have to take a step forward and move into it and take the action and get going on it.
Wow, so, I mean, you pretty much answered a question that I plan to ask later on, you know, starting your house-sitting adventure while in Europe for $300, you know, what do you say to people who have that excuse that, oh, I don't have enough money to travel and do this house-sitting thing? What's something that you can say to those people?
Bullshit. Sorry. But it's true.
It's really hard to say that because it brings up a lot of fear. I mean, you know, we've certainly sat in fear a lot as well because after what happened in Dubai, it wasn't just losing a business. We lost everything and went backwards. We were, you know, we had to borrow money and
almost in debt jail.
Almost thrown in debt jail. It was a really horrific experience. So emotionally, we were pretty distraught, and it took house sitting gave us the time and the space to, I guess, heal from that. And I think the biggest part about that was doing it with pets. So the pets were very much a healing part of that process too. But with the house sitting, we were getting so much more time back to not be worrying about having to pay rent each week or utility bills or what have you. So without that stress of that, we started to tap back into our creativity, and that creativity allowed us to trust again that we could create, you know, the money that we needed for our groceries or the money that we needed for the next lot of transport to get to the next place. So we kind of threw fear out the window and kept applying for house sits in really bizarre places. Like I remember sitting in France applying for Costa Rica, and it was like I'd never thought about Central America. I mean, I know it's very normal for North Americans to sort of love the idea of going to Central America, but for Australians, our destinations are always Asia and Europe. So the Americas are kind of a bit untouched to us. So I remember just sitting there going, Costa Rica, like,
where is that?
Why the hell not? Now, you know, we didn't even contemplate how much is an airfare there, whatever. We just knew that if we were meant to go, we would get the house sit and we would get the money to get there. And we did. And it actually came out with quite a big gap, which then, because we made the decision and we followed our gut instinct on it, here pops up this house sit in Canada, the exact date's right in the middle for 1 month, and that one was actually a paid house sit because it was actually at a B&B. So when we took in some nightly people and we cooked their breakfast, we went halves with the owner on the nightly rate. So we brought some income in from that, which bought our flights down to Costa Rica, which were not that expensive from Canada compared to flying from Europe. So, yeah, just everything keeps unrolling. So the biggest, I guess, advice I would give to anybody if you're stuck in fear about money is to just tap into that inner freedom feeling inside and say, can I trust? Can I trust that I will always be okay? Because you will be.
So, you know, for someone joining in and they don't really know so much about house sitting outside of the typical, you know, hey, can you watch my house for a second for the weekend and watch my cat? What is it different that you do that what people have, like, traditionally of what they can, what they think house sitting is about? So what's a process? Say you want to go do a house sit. What do you do?
Okay, well, I think the main difference is, to answer that question, is that, as you say, there's house sitting and there's house sitting. So most people go house sitting for friends or family, as you say, for a weekend away or whatever and stuff like that. And that is a great way to get started in more professional house sitting. And when we say professional house sitting, it means going house sitting for people you don't know.
As opposed to getting paid. Yeah. Sometimes you can be, but yeah, not always.
Yeah.
Okay. And right now, Belinda is on a house sit right now in Florida.
With a barking dog.
You want to share a little bit about your experience there in Florida? And
sure, just briefly. I wasn't planning on really participating. I was just going to listen in. I live here in sunny South Florida, and I dropped out of the corporate world about 8 months ago. and I've always worked in corporate HR. And there's no going back, trust me. I love it, and I became a full-time freelancer. And this was really an unexpected journey and diversion, or I would say a compliment to my freelancing. And so I'm an online freelance career strategist and employment counselor, and that's what I do, and so I can work virtually from anywhere. And so it just kind of fell into my lap, the house sits. It was just word of mouth and friends and family to begin with, and then it took on a life of its own. I mean, unbelievable. I was making actually more money actually being paid for house sitting, you know, short-term assignments than I was in my actual freelancing. And about a month ago, I think when I first met Jody and Natalie online, I got their information from the Suitcase Entrepreneur. That's where I first, you know, recognized your name. And so I joined the forum, and I became brave enough and just gave up my residence. And then I've been doing full-time just here in South Florida, and I take care of animals, but also luxury homes in Palm Beach, Florida.
Not bad at all.
Love your style.
I love it. I love it. I mean, absolutely.
I do house sits, but only luxury homes.
They're
luxury
They're luxury houses, and people don't, and they really need somebody to stay, you know, at the homes. And so this whole was very, very unexpected. I've always had a passion and a love for animals. Typically, I have a barking one tonight, but you know, typically I'm the type of person who works better with animals. I enjoy the comfort and the company. They just, I mean, I just work better with them. And my situation didn't allow for me to have an animal of my own, and that's how it all started. And as of last week, the woman that I'm taking care of her home right now, she travels 75% of the time, and she has now asked me to be a full-time dog nanny.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, like, how do those things happen, right? You know, and so it is perfect because I'm just starting out my business right now. I'm just, you know, moving forward in the business model in terms of going out on my own. It's very costly, as anyone knows, you know, the initial investment, even in an online venue, it's very expensive. And so I've become a minimalist in terms of my lifestyle, you know, giving up my car and bike riding only and doing things like that. So this is the perfect complement for me. It certainly wasn't a planned adventure. I would love to eventually take it on a larger scale, but for right now, I'm doing this because it's meeting the needs of my freelance career.
Wow. So let me backtrack a little bit. When you made the decision, you were in the corporate world. You just couldn't take it anymore. You knew that it was not for you, right? So did you make the decision, did you take the leap of faith to pursue this this house-sitting career, or just even try this?
No, it fell into my lap. I definitely did not pursue it. And I really didn't even pursue freelancing. I jumped in with both feet. It was just
so you
like
just decided
overnight.
To stop?
It's like, I know there must be a different way to work, to live. I need to change everything, you know, and it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to become a consultant. I just want to do everything different in my life. I want to live differently. I want to be healthier. I want to do everything differently. And this just fell into my lap. It's just been part of the path. I think it's part of the planned journey. Somewhat like yours. You know, it was an unplanned, but it's so perfect. It just fits my lifestyle. People are so happy, and as you know, I mean, once you get started in this, people really depend on you. You become part of their lives and part of their travel plans. And I've had people, you know, organize their vacations and their travels around my schedule because, you know, I'm the only one they want to watch those pets, you know, and so you become part of these people's lives, and you're like extended family.
Yeah.
We had a really beautiful conversation with a platform owner the other day. When I say platform, she has a brand new house sitting and homeowner matchmaking service. And she's French, so she's really started in the European world. And she's very much a follower of the term shared economy. And I think just everything you were just saying then, Belinda, it was really giving me this like heartwarming feeling of the shared economy. And now Nat and I, and I believe you too, Belinda, are all very much a part of, the concept of oneness, that we are all reflections of each other, and that energy runs through everything. So I just love the way that you're there, sitting there saying, well, pretty much you're a domestic house sitter at this stage, meaning domestic in the USA. We're international house sitters. Angelito sitting there going, I want to be both. And
it is, it is funny, and the whole idea came to me because I was doing a resume for a woman in Canada who was applying for a corporate position for Airbnb. And she was also a host for Airbnb. And so I always Skype, with all my clients. I get to know them. I work with them, very carefully with their careers and their strategy. And so we were chatting online. I said, wow, that's something. She said, yeah, I'm actually watching somebody's house right now. And I said, really? So tell me more about it. And that's actually, and I thought, that kind of put that little thing in my head. Like you said, the energy runs through. And wouldn't you know, I think I was just sending out those vibrations to the universe, like, I'd kind of like to do this. And all of a sudden, before you know it, I have a little business card that says pet sitter, and it's funny. All my credentials are out the window. Everything I worked for all my life. This is a much better life.
Totally. Same with us.
Wow. So if someone wanted to start house sitting, what is the process that they have to go through? Or if there is a process, what is the first steps that they can take if they're interested in house sitting to take on their first gig, if that's what you call it? What do you call it?
We're calling it gigs for sure.
Gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can say assignment, and of course the homeowner puts up a listing, but this is what we've been working really tirelessly on for the last few months now, because the growth of our Facebook community is just completely blown our mind. There's like 100 people joining the community a week at the moment. So this shared economy, this kind of like whole new trend in travel is really spreading now. And we can't keep up with all the questions and all the advice giving. So that's why we're sort of really here to announce the House Sitting Academy and what we've been putting together with that, which is why we were speaking to the owner of that platform. We've spoken to 2 owners of platforms in the last 2 days, and they're both on board thinking what we're putting together is a really great idea for the whole getting started right through the whole entire program of being on the house sit.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, one thing we realized as we went along was that, I guess, from a police background for myself and Jody from a hospitality background, I guess we come at that level of, so, security and things like that are really important in house sitting, and being able to show that you will look after people's privacy and security of their home, as well as look after the pets. So we really started to think about it back when we were in Peru, actually, over Christmas, and it really kept coming up for us about creating a house sitting academy, which would actually take people through step by step all that they needed to know about house sitting, so that a new person coming in, or even somebody that was experienced, could actually really make sure that they were doing the best job possible and presenting that to homeowners. And so that is why we're creating the academy, and tonight is the first announcement of its existence and founding.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Very excited about it, and we feel really
great.
aligned and coming from a heart space of wanting to help people have an experience of house sitting, whether it be full-time like us, and Belinda, or just part-time, for a holiday and stuff like that. But it's a space that's becoming very competitive in many ways, because it is spreading as a concept for traveling. Free accommodation is a big red flag to most people, going, wow, I can actually go traveling. So it's becoming competitive, and so we really want to make sure that the house sitters coming in now are really meeting some standards, that are doing the best job possible for homeowners, so we can spread the word more to homeowners that we exist.
Because there is a balance, obviously. I mean, yes, the idea of becoming a house sitter is a fantastic idea for so many people, because you can save rent, you can travel the world, you can, do all these and have the love of pets in your life. but we can't keep getting a whole bunch of house sitters, which is kind of what's happened at the moment. There's more and more people wanting to house sit, and there's not quite enough homeowners aware of the concept. So another reason for the academy is to sort of say, well, okay, if we can, you know, have our house sitters feeling really confident and getting the gigs and doing a great job and really kind of setting this standard that so many of us are naturally doing anyway,
yeah.
Then the homeowners are going to start to trust more. We're wanting to actually teach the house sitters to be collaborating and networking and getting out to the homeowners and letting people know that this exists, because, Belinda, you've probably come across the same thing. You know, every time you speak to somebody, they're like, what, you know, you do this for free, or like, can I pay you, or like, you know, oh, I'd much rather my pets be at home than in a kennel, or, you know, I don't have pets, but I have a holiday house, and, you know, it's in an area in Central America where there is a security issue, there are robberies, I'd rather have somebody there. So there's so many different services that can be provided, and by having this kind of, well, Angelito, you know that we've done some consulting with people who are trying to stand out, and it's really interesting in HR as well. But when you're trying to go for a job or you're wanting to attract new clients, you know, look more credible so that you stand out amongst the crowd. We're wanting to sort of follow that concept with the house sitting academy. So if you've got a profile picture up and there's a little badge on there that says House Sitting Academy member, to me, that says to the owner who's looking at that, it's like, wow, these people take this seriously. You know, they've invested in themselves to, you know, be the best type of thing. Then I'm going to choose somebody, even if they don't have a lot of experience, if they're part of the academy, as opposed to somebody who might just want a free holiday somewhere. You know, they're going to kind of make their choices based off those first impressions. And the whole academy is about teaching some of the skills that you know so well, Angelito, and that you've taught me over the years in copywriting and how to portray yourself. And it's very much about, it's so interesting that we have a HR consultant here about how you present yourself, you know, and presenting yourself in a way that is authentic and true, and that you know why you're wanting to house sit. So there's a pretty huge process that we've put together, and we've defined everything through 10 steps.
Nice. So you've been doing this for a while now, and I'm sure that you've learned a lot along the way, and that's what, you know, the House Sitting Academy is the culmination of. Would you care to share some of those tips as kind of like a sneak preview of what we can learn inside of the academy?
Let's just see. Pull it up. Okay, let's see if we can pull it up first.
Okay. And while you're doing that, I do have a second question. And I'm not sure if you have done a tally of the money or the, I guess, what does it cost you, or how much have you been able to save living the lifestyle that you live now? And I know, Belinda, you mentioned earlier about you're actually making more money now.
I was doing the house sitting, yeah.
So I remember, I think it was your first year, Jody and Nat, when it was a ridiculous amount that you were able to travel the world and do these houses for an entire year for 2 people. And what are those stats, if you have those in your mind?
Pretty staggering ones, actually, and I don't think we realised until we tallied it up at the end of the year. Jody did a tally of our transport costs, you know, flights and buses and bits and pieces to get around. We did take out groceries because obviously you've got to buy them wherever we are.
Yeah, you still have to eat.
Still got to eat no matter what country we're in. So it ended up being, what was the figure in the end?
It was exactly a third of the rent that we were paying in Dubai. So international flights to 7 different countries for 2 of us was 1/3 of a 1-bedroom apartment in Dubai, and that was at roughly $300 a week rent. Now,
which is pretty standard.
$300 a week rent is probably about average throughout the world. Even you know, I mean, you certainly have to be outer suburbs of Sydney to get that price. Inner suburbs double. But so $300 a week rent is what, about $16,000 a year, and our international travel for 2 people was just on $5,000, just over $5,000.
Wow.
And of course, you don't have any other costs when you house it too, like
no internet,
no internet or electricity, or water or anything. All your utilities are taken care of. So really, you're paying for your flights and any transport costs, your food, and any entertainment that you would probably normally do anyway, wherever you were.
Yeah. Plenty of time to run your business if you do an online business.
And I think that's the point. That's the other point, and probably Belinda's touched on that as well. Is she increased her income? And I really do feel, or we both feel, that that's because in a house sit you have so much more space to create. You know, you're there in somebody's home and you've got to look after the pets, certainly, but there seems to be a sense of creation that comes with it because you're not in your own comfort zone. You're not in your own home where you've got friends around you all the time and family and all
normal
those
routine.
Yeah, that tends to bog you down. And because you're constantly out of your comfort zone, well, we certainly are because we travel internationally, you know, about every month or two, we change countries. So that's a big change for, you know, to take on board, you know, new languages, cultures.
You got to stay on your toes.
Did you just listen to what you said? Is just so nonchalant. Every month or two, we change countries,
and I guess
it's just a different reality.
But even in Belinda's case, like changing homes every couple of months as well, you've got a new routine to get to know the area, to get to know the pet's routine, to get to know where everything is in the house. It means you're actually staying alert. Yeah. You're staying more aware. You know, you're not just forgetting about that spare bedroom that has a box of stuff that you keep saying for the last 10 years, I'll get to it one day and clear it out. You know, it's like...
Yeah, it's very different.
True. I'm much more motivated and I'm much more creative as a writer.
There's a lot more energy and a lot more space to create. And that
you all mentioned earlier about simplifying and reducing your baggage, like your physical baggage. What was that process like, you know, for people who like to hang on to things? Do you have to get rid of all your stuff to do this? Or, I mean, how were you able to find...
It's a step-by-step process.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't living at home anyway. We weren't in Australia or in Dubai, so we didn't have a lot of stuff. We had taken 10 boxes across. We had it shipped across to Dubai from home in Australia.
And we left with 2 bags each.
And we left with 2 bags. We left about 100 pounds. It's a lot more than what we should put on the airline at the time. But bit by bit, we've let it go. We're now down to 2 bags. We're almost considering getting just carry-on luggage.
That's one each
for both of us.
Actually, the last 2 house sits, we've actually been sharing 1 suitcase because we gave away a lot of stuff when we were in Breckenridge. Because we want to create that space to bring in, you know, new and better travel clothing and what have you. And we're just in summer now, so we don't need to be carrying a lot of stuff. So we won't get it until we need it, because otherwise you just have to pay for luggage anyway. So
carry it around.
And how are you different having simplified your life just by getting rid of a lot of the baggage?
Yeah, I was going to say that really is a supplement to the house sitting space itself, is that it is an amazing feeling to be able to have nothing other than 2 bags.
Yeah, literally lighter.
One of the things I was talking about was, say, if you've got a spare bedroom with a whole bunch of stuff in a wardrobe that you haven't looked at, that is actually energetic baggage that you're still carrying with you. You know, it's like if you're living in your own home, or if you have even got you know, plenty of people who put stuff into a storage shed, and then after however many years they realise that they haven't looked or needed that stuff in the storage shed, so they go back, they get rid of half of it or more of it, or it's a step-by-step thing, because there's a lot of stuff you're still attached to, you know, heirlooms and different things and photos, and you know, you can't sort of just completely minimalise straight off the first bat. But
we have a question too from a text.
Oh, okay, cool.
From a viewer texting in, they have a dog. Would it be feasible to house sit and to bring a pet as well?
Yeah, we do know of a few house sitters that actually have their own pets and come along, and you know, if they have got pets at the house, they, you know, really comes down to whether your dog is socialising as well. But it does happen.
Up to the homeowner. There's not as many, obviously. You know, to bring a new dog into a home that's got cats or something like that may not work. But they do exist, yes, definitely. There are people that house sit with their own pets and take them with them.
And there's people that are travelling from like top of North America to the bottom of South America with their animals as well. So they're fully on the road with their animals. But something that we love talking about is the stay it forward concept. a couple of our house sits that we've done, the homeowners, while we're house sitting looking after their pets, they've gone off and house sat somewhere else to look after somebody else's pets or home. So the kind of idea of like paying it forward or staying it forward is, you know, we'd love to sort of spread that message as well.
Wow, very cool. So, you know, having had these experiences house sitting around the world, and this goes to all three of you, my question is, what's the most memorable experience that you have, maybe most memorable place that you stayed in, or pet that you sat? What's the most memorable experience that you've had doing this experience?
Belinda, you go first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the most memorable. I think when I finally gave up my permanent residence.
Yeah.
That was recent.
Yeah, just very recently.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure what to expect as far as a reaction. And I thought, is it going to be fear or panic? I knew it was the practical thing to do because I was never there. I was paying rent for some place I was never there. And it turned out that when I actually took things in garbage bags, donated things, you know, down to 2 suitcases, and actually walked out of there and went directly to a pet sit, that it was the most liberating feeling that I've ever had in my life. And I knew without a doubt that I was on the right path.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Jody and Nat? Thank you for that,
me,
Belinda.
mine's actually a house sitting experience. We'd flown into Cusco, and we picked
Peru. Okay.
In Peru. We had a 1-month house sit in the Sacred Valley of Peru, and over Christmas New Year, which was such a special thing, the 2 ladies, which is also part of the story, I guess, and the feeling of it. These 2 ladies run an NGO, so a not-for-profit, in the highlands of the Sacred Valley. So they go up to 4,000 meters, which is about 1,300 feet, 13,000 feet, I should say. Very, very high up in altitude, and work with the local communities there, helping them grow vegetables and in greenhouses and things like that, and nutrition and stuff like that. So it's such an incredible story to meet these 2 women that were doing this, and going in to do this house sit meant that for the first time they could go back together to Holland, to their home, and have Christmas together with their families. So it just felt such a special thing. I'm welling up already talking about it. But driving from Cusco, it takes about an hour and a half to get to the Sacred Valley, and we stopped at a lookout, and this lookout was just the most incredible experience and feeling. You look straight down the valley towards Machu Picchu. You can't see it, but it goes straight towards there. And just in front of you is the Sacred Valley, and you just feel it. It's just incredible. Wow. Both of us just stood there.
I'd been crying the whole way there. Preparing for I don't know what, but it was.
What was to come, because it was just such an overwhelming feeling of it's okay to let everything go now.
Yeah,
it was just so nurturing in that valley, and it was just the most incredible house sit that we've had.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're going back.
The
neighbours asked us to go back, so they've been running a B&B down there. They actually had just recently sold the B&B. They'd been running it for 8 years, and during those 8 years, they'd never taken more than a week off together. So they're going to take their first 5-week vacation in September, and we're going back to look after their 3 dogs. So we're actually really excited about going back to the Sacred Valley, and this time not being so overwhelmed by the idea of being able to cleanse and let go and make some of this stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, for me, that is an amazing experience. It was funny because I'd only written about that today in our group, but there's an overall element for me, which I think even here in New York, we have the opportunity to be completely, no responsibility at all, just staying in Nat's brother's studio apartment with no pets to look after, no duties to perform. And we gave that up less than a week into it, to come and take on a house sit because we actually missed the pets. Yeah. And through the whole experience of all of our charges, cats, dogs, chickens, every single animal, I swear, every single animal has been a teacher for us of some description, reflecting to us some kind of behavior or emotion or just pure connection. Unconditional love is the biggest thing. I mean, to walk into a house, one house that we had in Costa Rica, we walked into this house, we'd never met the owner, we'd only spoken to her on the phone, never even seen her, arrived just on dusk, we could barely see trying to find the lights. We walked in, here's 3 dogs and 1 cat. Naturally, there was a bit of barking, but they were kind of like, oh, who are you? And we read the piece of paper that said, okay, the white one's Coco, the brown one's Flacker, and the black one's Bitsy, and the cat's Felix. And we're like, hi, guys. And they all just welcomed us. It's like, well, you're here to look after us, aren't you? You know, it was just brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what about when there's families involved? Have you met any other house sitters where they have a family? Can families do this?
Yes.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of families in our group, in our Facebook community, that go and house sit. They travel the world full-time with their kids, and some of them are quite young. They homeschool or school online, and they travel the world.
World school.
World school. And they travel the world house sitting, or using house sitting as part of their travels. So yeah, absolutely they can, definitely. And a lot of the platforms now are giving homeowners the option to tick a box whether their house sit is actually
child-friendly.
Child-friendly, yeah, whether they can bring a family. So it's allowing people to see straight up whether a family is welcomed into their home.
And this, again, is part of the idea of, like, keeping the balance with the homeowners and the pets, because if a homeowner themselves, we truly believe in this Stay It Forward, because if a homeowner has a family, a young family, if they go and house sit somewhere, instead of just doing a straight exchange, because house swaps have been around for years, many people in all parts of the world change hemispheres, you know, once a year for a unique vacation. They're swapping houses. But to take that a step forward and do the pay it forward and kind of look at the idea of opening up your home to another family who is traveling, and I think that's the beauty of the internet these days. So many people are blogging about their travel experiences. You know, it's inspiring. So it's kind of like, well, oh, I'd love to open my home to a family, you know, with little kids or older kids or whatever, and have this experience because we have a family home. So it's sort of, it keeps paying it forward.
Yeah.
Wow, that is inspiring. And are there any prerequisites for, you know, you mentioned earlier about a 10 checklist or 10 points or something. Is that is that part of the prerequisites that you must have in order to do a successful house sit?
Look, you don't need to do the academy to do successful house sitting. People have been doing it for years, but there are a lot of people coming into our community that are asking, they're really interested in the concept of house sitting, but they don't know where to start with it. And that's really what the academy is about too, is helping people get started properly. So they've got all the templates they need, they've got the checklists, they've got the contract if they need one for a house sit, they've got all the information they need to get started properly. And
so I'm sure people are curious how they get started in the House Sitting Academy, and I know you said that this was just, what is this, the pre-launch or the first time you've actually gone public with this new platform that you're putting out. Where do they go?
Yeah. To be a founding member mainly means that, you know, you're getting involved, you're going to be able to get that badge, put that badge onto your profile, start to stand out.
Yeah,
and you build quite a reputation with a lot of these platforms, correct?
Yeah, and that's one of the steps that we are taking right now, is actually connecting with each of the platforms and letting them know about the Academy, and to really encourage them to have their members join the Academy so that they can really promote their platform as being a professional platform.
Can people find out information about this now or sign up now?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to housesittingacademy.com.
Okay.
But we feel it's a really important message to get out there, and you know, the whole idea of creating it as a collaboration, pay it forward, an affiliate program, is that anyone coming in to be a founding member of the Academy will work closely with us. You know, if you feel to contribute with knowledge as well, that's fantastic. But we're going to teach you how to, you know, get that money back and keep earning as well by paying this forward and spreading it further afield.
Very cool. So it's one more time. It's housesittingacademy.com.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Housesittingacademy.com. Go there now. Buy the product, buy the course, and learn how to travel the world and get some free accommodations, because we all love free accommodations. And really, it's about having an experience and I mean, listen to what these ladies have had to share with us today. And Belinda, as a thank you for joining this hangout as well, you mentioned earlier that you helped entrepreneurs, or what was it exactly that you did again? I'll let you explain.
I'm a career strategist.
Okay.
Is what I am. And so I help people with their branding and marketing their careers. So I work with a global clientele, and it's all in a virtual world, of course, and I help them market their careers.
Very cool. So, how can they find more information about you if they want to help?
If they want to go, I am on a platform called Odesk.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Very familiar with Odesk.
Yep, and they can look me up on there, Belinda B.
Belinda B. Very cool. So, I mean, that's the beautiful part about this, being a lifestyle entrepreneur, is that there's so many different ways to create an income online and do what these ladies are doing and really design your life the way you want it. They've already answered the question. You can travel with families. You can travel with pets. What are some other, I guess, questions that a lot of your audience asks in the beginning when they first do houses that we haven't covered yet? We still have about 10 minutes, so share with us.
I won't say there's something that's sort of been asked, but something that I've thought about quite a lot is, here's my suggestion for anyone in a relationship. If you want to renew your relationship or spark your relationship, go house sitting, because when you break those at-home routines, even if you just do it for a weekend, get on, look at the platform, see if there's somebody in your local area or in a state close by that you can get to. Go and have a mini break just for a weekend, because by breaking your own routine, you actually start to, I guess, see the attributes of your partner again and kind of fall in love with them again too. And sort of go, well, oh, that's right, you're really good at doing that part, or you're really good at doing that part. So that's my relationship advice, is house will save marriages and relationships.
We just took house sitting to a whole new level. It fixes relationships. Great.
It's very true.
Totally makes sense, too. Wow, okay, very cool. So, again, lifestyle entrepreneurs, I haven't mentioned that one of the things that I do with my business partner is that we take lifestyle entrepreneurs who, let's say they're building a business online and they put all the pieces together. Jody, Nat, you all know that when you're building a business online, there's a lot of pieces that you put together depending on what outcome it is that you want. So a lot of the times people who start online businesses, they don't really know they take advice from mentors or the coaches, if they get coaches, and they buy tons of products and courses, and they still have problems putting things together online. So what my business partner and I do is that we actually, as a third party, go in and take a look at what you have and let you know without emotions attached, because when you have all these emotions attached, you're unable to see the picture because you're in the frame. So we actually give you a 10,000-foot view of your business and let you know where to fill in the holes and how you can optimize your, what we call the marketing funnel, so that you can get the results that you want. So, as a little plug, if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't seen the results that you want and you're ready to take on these house sits, you're ready to get results, head over to audits.customaidssocial.com and watch the quick video, place your order. It's a very, very tiny investment for thousands of dollars of results for your business. So that's my little plug.
Can I just add something there, Angelito?
For sure, absolutely.
Came up for me to share was there's a very big difference between having an online business with your outcome of wanting to make money as opposed to wanting an outcome of lifestyle.
Sure.
And so many people focus on money, thinking that will give them the lifestyle. And it's not true. And we can testify to that 100%, and I know you can as well. is that when you have an absolute goal and focus of lifestyle first, which is what we have, you will get your lifestyle. And the rest, the money will come in to supplement that lifestyle and create it for you. And so will all the other resources that you need. So that one pinpoint focus on lifestyle is absolutely key rather than let's get online to make money.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I did a couple of videos on that last week on how, we all have different perceptions on what lifestyle is and what that means for us. And just to clarify on some of the videos that I made, because I feel like I'm living the lifestyle of my dreams now, is that, like you said, lifestyle isn't about the money, it's about the experiences. Right. So, yeah, and we're all having those experiences. We're all creating and co-creating and constantly designing as we go. And I'm sure everyone here online that I see in front of me, you ladies and me myself, can say that we're absolutely happy with our lives.
100%. I love them.
Yeah. So very cool. Hey, let me go check and see if we have any questions. I know I've been slacking on the questions part of this hangout, and there were a couple earlier. I don't have the link right now to the Facebook group, but if you add me on Facebook, Angelito Felix is my name. You'll find me. Add me there, and I'll add you onto the Facebook group that we have for Lifestyle Entrepreneurs United. So, ladies, do you have any parting words? Any last bits of information that you'd like to share with us?
Come and join our group too if you're on Facebook, House Sitting World.
House Sitting World. So it's facebook.com/groups /House Sitting World?
Yeah, /groups /House Sitting World. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else?
Okay, just...
Does that dog have any last words to say?
Stop thinking about it and just go and do it. If it's really in your heart, keeps coming up, just stop listening to the head, because the head's always going to chatter. Always going to. At some point, you have to make the decision to follow your heart. And
I mean, we can't have any a bigger testimonial than you ladies, because we covered this early on, that you were in Dubai, your business just failed, you had $300 to your name, and you started this whole 18-month journey, house sitting, starting with $300. So I would take their advice. Just do it. there's no other excuse now.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me here, and I hope to see you next week. Yeah.
Don't
welcome to come back.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Belinda. You really added some value.
Thank you, Belinda.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, ladies. Have a great night. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you on a future hangout.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.